We are in the final 4 episodes of Season 2 of The Bad Batch. Episode 13, Pabu, was not at all what I was expecting to see, but I think it will wind up being important to the series moving forward. We begin on another mission with Fee, and yet again, it's very much inspired by an Indiana Jones story. This time, it's the Temple of Doom. Fee buys an ancient wonder from a shady character who then proposes a toast to the done deal, which is how Indy gets poisoned in the second movie. But Fee doesn't fall for it, so the gangster has to release a Cohoon instead. Hunter thwarts its attack, and the following shootout is just a lot of fun. And the club itself is called Club Lao She, which is a reference to the gangster Lao She from the Temple of Doom, and the fact that he and Indy meet in Club Obi-Wan in the movie. Obviously, I loved all of that. In hyperspace, Fee points out that Omega has become a very capable soldier, but that she could use some other skills. Social skills. I like that that's a complete blind spot for the Bad Batch. They never grew up having to make friends. They grew up with one another as they were training to become soldiers. They had one another by default, and as far as they were concerned, that was enough. So as they try to raise Omega, they're simply doing their best to raise her the same way they grew up. But Hunter has claimed over and over again that he wishes Omega could have a normal childhood, so when Fee points out the abnormality of her life, I think that hits home. In the midst of that conversation, they get a message from Sid. She complains that she hasn't heard from them in 20 days and is losing money because of it. She also reminds them that she knows their true identities, including Omega's, and not so subtly threatens to spill the beans to the Empire if they don't reach back out. Sid continues to prove Malegi right. Seeing that the Batch needs a place to lie low, Fee gives them the coordinates to a city called Pabu. It is a beautiful island town on a water planet that's inhabited by refugees. We learn that many of the artifacts Fee recovers wind up here because she recovers items that are important to the various cultures that lived there. So she's not just out for her own fortune and glory, like I assumed after the episode Entombed. Speaking of episode 5, I struggled to figure out how that story would play into the overall season, and I think this episode has fixed that for me. We needed at least one adventure with her so that we could see her bond with Omega and the others, allowing some trust to form before she gave up these secret coordinates. They are welcomed to the city by its mayor, Shep, and his daughter Leanna, who is about the same age as Omega. Even Tech recognizes the value of letting her just laugh and play with a friend. The planet is remote, beautiful, and of little value to the Empire, and it has enough food to even make Wrecker full. Omega and Leanna take a boat out on the water to watch the sunset, and everyone else experiences the beauty of Pabu coming alive at night. The episode really goes out of its way to make it appear to be an ideal place for all of them to stay permanently, which is exactly what Fee suggests. Of course, no place is perfect. Star Wars really can't just let us have nice things. Remember Scarif, beautiful beach planet? Nah, let's blow it up. Do you like this Pabu place? It sure would be a shame if it were hit by a tidal wave. Shep claims there hasn't been a sea surge in 30 years, but the day Clone Force 99 shows up, it happens again. But thank goodness they were there, because the rest of the episode becomes a race to save the citizens of Pabu before the wave hits. It's interesting that 2 episodes in a row have had some sort of natural disaster. It wasn't so central to the Outpost, but Crosshair and Mayday tried and failed to outrun an avalanche. And now we have Omega and Leanna trying and succeeding to outrun the massive wave. I think they're both metaphors for one of the most constant forces of life, change. Last week I talked about Crosshair attempting to outpace the change the Empire is bringing to clones. He has tried to make himself so useful as a soldier that the Empire would never think to discard him, but that's not the kind of change he can outrun, and the avalanche overtakes him. Omega and the Batch are also trying to outpace a changing galaxy, but they're doing it together, and they make it. Hunter saves the kids, Wrecker saves the mayor, and when he nearly falls, the other villagers save him. The incident is not without loss. Everyone who lived in Lower Pabu lost their homes and all their belongings, and of course they're upset about that, but not a single villager dies. Change can be painful, but they can all survive it together. Shep resolves to rebuild. Hunter and Tech agree that they would be useful staying and helping. So they've got a beautiful place for Omega to have a more normal childhood, and they've got a purpose. And they've got a potential girlfriend for Tech. Fee has been flirting with him, calling him Brown Eyes since the season premiere, but this episode he actually seemed to be responding to her advances, which I found amusing and heartwarming. But the point is, Pabu offers them everything Hunter has been wanting all season, a purpose and, more importantly, stability for Omega. It's a nice ending to the episode, but obviously we know it won't be permanent. Something will pull them back into the fight, but it's good to set up this conflict, to make their new potential home so inviting and so tempting that leaving it will be difficult. We know what they will be sacrificing. It's the same reason we spend so much time in the Shire in The Lord of the Rings, so we know Frodo's sacrifice when he accepts his duty as ring-bearer. Molly suggested that Pabu could be the endgame for many clones that are being tossed aside by the Empire. Clones themselves are becoming refugees and they need a home. Hunter has found one for his family, but there is a chance he could extend that welcome beyond just Clone Force 99 to all clone kind. That's been at the heart of his and Echo's conflict all season. Coming off the heels of the Outpost and the developments with Crosshair, I really wanted to follow up on his story, but I think Pabu being a literal and metaphorical break from that will raise the personal stakes for our heroes moving forward and provide a potential ending for the entire series. Although I do have to wonder that if Pabu is where the clones might end up, why don't we find Rex, Gregor, and Wolf there in Star Wars Rebels? That doesn't bode well, but that's a question for another time. For now, let me know what you thought of Pabu in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our Bad Batch coverage, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page for video reactions and audio commentaries for every episode as well. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.